There were some apples and orange in a box. In the morning, when 24 apples were added to the box, the ratio of the number of apples to the number of oranges in the box was 6:5. Then 35 oranges were removed from the box and the ratio became 4:1. How many apples were there in the box at first? So in this case, if you see a before, right? Okay, so this one is a bit tricky, but you just need to know if there is a ratio, something happened, and a ratio after, then we can make use of this thing called the before change and after table. So you can write here apples and orange. So at first it's 6:5, and then 35 oranges were removed, so minus 35. And then after what happens, the ratio becomes 4:1. Since the apples remained the same, this is what we call the constant part concept. So that means you want to make the apple the same number because they literally didn't change at all. So we want to use the lowest common multiple, which is 6 and 4, and this will give us 12. So then we will multiply the apples and oranges accordingly, and this will look something like this. So apples and oranges, they will just become 12. So 6 times 2, 4 times 3. Since they are the same, then we also do the same with oranges, 5 times 2 and 1 times 3. So you see that the oranges before is now 10 and after is 3. So from here, we actually can create the equation. The difference or the change in here will be 7 units will be 35. Then that means we can calculate for 1 unit, which is equal to 35 divided by 7 is 5. Now the question asks, how many apples were there in the box at first, right? But the thing is that in the morning, okay, but before, we want to get 12 units first lah. Because we want to find the apples before, which is 60 over here. So we want to find the number of apples, but from the question it says here, in the morning when the 24 apples were added, the ratio becomes 6:5, right? So that means we need to minus off 24 from 60. And the final answer to this is apples at first will then be equal to 60 minus 24, and this will give us 36, which is the answer over here. So for part B, in the afternoon, more apples and oranges were added into the box. The number of apples increased by 65% and the number of oranges increased by 120%. Find the total number of apples and orange added in the afternoon. So number of apples increased by 65% means 65% of the apples are added. So apples added is basically 60 times 65%, and this will give us 39. And the next part is number of oranges increased by 120%. That means 120% of oranges are added. So oranges added is equal to, we need to know how many oranges, right? At the end, which is 3 units. So 3 units equal to 3 times 5, which is 15 oranges. So that means it's 15 times 120%, and this will give us 18. Therefore, total apples and oranges added would then be equal to, in this case, 39 plus 18, which is equal to 57. Okay, there you go. That's the answer, 57.